Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in episode 103 of the Illiana Stock Car Radio Podcast. I am Jeremy Banning, flanked by the brothers Goodacre, Chris and Brian. Yeah, I flank.
Yeah, this is
new virtual studio.
New digs, new lots of stuff, really.
New home.
Yeah, new virtual
home.
studio.
That's the same
here.
apartment I've been in.
Yeah, everything's the same, just different.
No. Brian's cabinets are a new color.
Ah, so he's been busy doing that honey-do list the last couple of weeks we've been gone.
Can't see it now that we're all in.
I gotta finish.
Vertical here.
It's very
I
intimate.
gotta finish.
Here. Yeah,
they'll be back down here for the next episode probably. the other half, which is really like the other 3/4.
Fractions were.
I'm
I was
running
told
out
there'd
of
be no
off-season.
math. Yes, you very quickly running out of off season.
Yeah, we were also told that we wouldn't have calculators in our pockets, and guess what I have?
Yes, I had a whole computer.
You got the entire internet in your pocket.
I've got all the answers in my pocket. So.
Yes. All right. So all new episodes. So second episode of the 2025 season, off season, whatever you want to call it. But racing's here. Coming off the
we are officially racing now.
Yeah, coming off the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Oh, you mean Raceway Revisited?
It's one of those deals where we're talking about short track survival tonight and kind of past days, and no better way to talk about revivals than with a Baptist preacher coming on later on. See what I did there?
Perfect.
Very nice. Very nice.
We've got a little preview here coming up. We've got preacher Dan Woodward from Grundy County Speedway, runs the concessions out there. He's a chaplain of the racetrack as well. He's voluntold. I'm not sure.
He
volunteered
like
himself.
most of our longtime listener, first time callers. It's hey, I'd like to do that. Okay, you're on.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for. But either way, he's volunteered to come on, and we couldn't be more happy to have him on.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in a racing, kind of comes from a racing family, and you've got a lot of stories to tell. He's been around a while, and we talk about. One of the things we want to do on this show is preserve the past, preserve the history, and having somebody that's been around a while and seen a thing or two come on here and tell some stories is kind of what we're all about.
Almost sound like you called him old. He's not old.
No, I did not do that. Did not do that at all. So I don't think there's anything left to do but just bring him on.
No, let's drag him in here
Yeah, so here is our interview with the preacher.
Wait, can we say let's grill the cook?
Oh, let's see if we can't turn the heat up in the kitchen.
There you go.
On the preacher, Dan Woodward.
Welcome on to Illiana Stock Car Podcast Radio.
Stock Car Radio.
Golly.
God. At
why
some
we can't
point,
have
you'll
nice
get the name
things,
of this thing
Brian.
fight.
Yeah, take another drink. That'll help.
Yeah.
That should.
All right, we got Pastor Dan on here, so behave yourself.
I will. Probably not. All right. Welcome on to Illiana Stock Car Podcast Radio. We're welcoming in.
That's all right. Just roll.
Oh my God.
We'll get him tuned in here for too long.
Welcome to the show. All right. Welcome in to Illiana Stock Car Radio Podcast.
There
we go. He got it.
Third time's a charm. We've got Preacher Dan, who is leads the concession staff out at Grundy County Speedway, is a good friend of our father's, and has shared many stories. But as we saw this weekend, a little bit of preservation of the past goes a long way. And so Dan has offered his services to share plenty of stories tonight about the past, specifically Chicagoland and Midwest racing. So welcome in, Dan, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into racing.
Well, I grew up with racing. My mother was raised in the Reffner house. My mother was raised as Tom Reffner's sister. My grandmother was a missionary in India. They sent my mom home during the war, and the Reffners took her in. They were relatives, the closest relatives. And of course, that was the beginning of when I was born, being exposed to racing. I, of course, was born and raised in the Wisconsin Rapids, Rudolph area, right there where, Marv Marzefka, Dick Trickle, and Tom Reffner. And, as a little boy, I'd get to go to that garage. And, it was back in the day when kids were seen and not heard, and, but I grew up exposed. My first exposure to Grundy County I was a young teenager. My dad took us the first ARCA race that Tom Reffner won that night. And we were there. And I remember my dad saying, "Son, they have a half-pound hamburger there. I think you can eat it." And who thought all these years later I would be asked to turn the concessions around at Grundy County Speedway. And of course, I'm an independent Baptist preacher in that area, but I've been a foodie all my life. I was asked by the fair board to come and turn the food around there, and it would become more than that now. The track chaplain and so many wonderful people that I've met. Your dad he used to bust my chops all the time. And I enjoyed that. He about being a preacher. He said, "What kind of preacher are you?" He'd always mess with me, and I loved him. I loved him for that. And again, but came to Grundy, and we've worked hard and made many friends, like all of you, and it's been one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, I know Brian and I put away a few of those half-pound burgers too.
Oh yeah, bottle of Surge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we what was it called? The Pit Grill.
Yeah,
it was the Pit Grill
for the monster burgers.
We'd pull up, man. Windows would be down, and all you could smell is that flame broil going on. Mixed with a little bit of burnt rubber and used gas.
I found the old sign. What deja vu'd me? I found the sign up in the rafter for the 5-pound burger, and it was a $5. Not 5-pound burger, but again, the 1-pound burger, and for $5, and I found that, and that's when I deja vu'd my dad saying, "Son, I think you can eat one of them," and realized all those years ago, how things go around.
Yeah, yep. I remember getting one in the wrapper, some kind of like white paper. I remember you could see the grease coming around, and we carried it. Of course, I'd open it and take a bite or two on the way up.
Of course,
God forbid, I wait 5 minutes. But and we'd have our soda, and we hike up. I don't know what row were we? M, H, Z, double Z. We were pretty far.
We were
up.
usually in the 30s. We sat up there pretty close to the announce stand.
Yeah, we would sit down, me, my brother, my sister, and we'd be in the backs, like right down the middle from the scoring tower stand, and press box, if you will. And Dad would get us all settled in, and he'd hike up to the top corner there over turn 4, and he'd be shooting right over the fence. And I know Chris has all of those prints and negatives that.
Wow.
Probably never looks through, but
occasionally it's a pretty big task just to really kind of get to it right now.
Yeah. And fast forward 30 years, here we are in the infield.
Yeah.
No more.
A little bit easier
burger,
to get the pictures.
But I know this last season I ventured down a couple times, got some hot dogs. I hit my hot dog count. We went over. I was at 46. Thanks, Jake Straka. And I know.
I don't think we actually fully reported on those results at the end of the year.
I don't think we did not.
Failed there.
No, I got it from you, the results, but you pounded a few hot dogs that day even.
I did.
Then I took you astray.
Yep, I hit 46 hot dogs on the year the last night at Shady Hill, then proceeded to make my way to Brackett's where I had hot dogs and I had, I think it's a brisket sandwich. Is that what you saw?
Brisket, the new brisket sandwich.
Yeah, ironically, that was during my 5 weeks where Kelsey, my wife, was adamant about trying this carnivore diet. So it was perfect.
It works out.
No fries, extra meat. It was awesome.
Yeah,
good. So you definitely
we hand out a warning with that. We hand out a warning with that sandwich. It's so good it'll make your tongue slap your brains out. So I was a little worried giving that to you, but you handled it well.
You didn't have much brains to slap out, so it's okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just a photographer, you know. Yeah, good. So, how long have you been going to the racetrack? Since those early days in the garage?
I started going as a 5-year-old boy. My parents then later in life would move to Kenosha, Wisconsin. I grew up going and watching the modifieds at Wilmot, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And Wilmot's just rebuilt their whole track, and kind of excited to, all the memories. But my dad's best friend raced and had his wreckers there, and I rode as a young boy for many, many years in the back of the wrecker. Was a cool spot for a kid to sit. Mm-hmm. And that was before, you had to wear a seatbelt and you had to, be in a car seat and all that. I'm one of those kids that turned out right.
Yeah, I remember riding in the back of Mom's truck back in the 90s.
Yeah, I believe I made it all the way to Kentucky once in the back of the truck. That was a ride.
That explains a lot, Chris.
Hey.
Raised up in the back of a truck bed and at a racetrack.
Well, yeah.
Well, I remember, again, dirt racing is, I've been, Wilmot was dirt, but then anytime we went to see Tom, it was asphalt. And, I just have a love for both. I like asphalt because it's, someone told me once you grow potatoes on dirt, but I'm not sure how that goes.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of racers at Shady Hill that manage to find a crater and instantly go to Facebook. Nowadays, we have Facebook to complain, whereas back in the day, you just got your buddies together in the pits and complained at the trailer. Not now everything's on Facebook. So, but yeah, there's plenty of complaints about dirt track surfaces, whether it's just the local guys or the traveling series. Sometimes those traveling series really get after it too.
Yeah, but that's part of that sport, I think. I've always, you got to win on whatever the track condition is. You're there to get out, compete, and win. And man, I watched Whitey Harris, that's a name out of the past, lost his front wheel with Al Schill was in that bunch that would run the modifieds, but he lost a front wheel and won the whole race with that left front wheel gone, leading, never quit, and I saw that as a kid, and I'll never forget that.
That's probably where the saying "keep your left front at home" came from.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be, but a lot of fun.
Oops, lost audio.
Lost audio.
What's that?
Okay,
you lost audio there for a second. You're good. We can hear you now.
Thank you. I did. It said to do not disturb, but I couldn't find that button. It must be my wife hid it from me.
Yeah. So you've grown up in racing. You've been around racing. Geez, I'm tongue tied tonight. So what is it about racing that keeps you coming back?
Well, competition. I love the competition. I love to see two ants race, and I'll cheer for one of them. If mine loses, I step on him, though. But I'm just competition, and I love, we have a lot of thrill night, different things at Grundy, but I like racing. I like watching these young kids coming up. I think we got some good young talent coming up through, and I just love the competition. I would have and had offered, Tom years ago offered to help me get into racing, but God had another plan for my life, and I followed that plan. But boy, I come as close as getting into it, and had all of the family that wanted to get involved. I love wrenching. I love turning, and to this day, I have a big garage, and we do fabrication. I learned all that, and I'm a preacher, and I pastor a wonderful church. This is my 40th year as pastor of First Baptist Church of Dwight, and we're going to retire. Don't know when, but I keep saying I'm going to retire. I'm going to put a new set of tires on and keep going. But
awesome.
I love racing. I love it when the competition is close. I don't like a blowaway. Nobody really does, I don't think.
Yeah.
But my mother and dad would take us to the races. I have 5 sisters, and I'm the only boy. That's why I'm so feminine. And so when you have to fight girls, you're not feminine at all. Boy, they're mean. I grew up in a farm with pitchforks and hay hooks being thrown at me. And an axe, we raise chickens, and sisters are mean.
Yeah,
but we would go to the track and get up in the bleachers with our whole family. When Dad was gone, Mom would take us to the races. My dad was a truck driver, and then later would own his own trucking company. And Mom would take us to the races, and the thing was to pick the winning car. Yeah. Well, the girls were stupid. They didn't know anything. They were just stupid. They picked the best looking car. They picked the best looking car. And in doing so, I learned, I would pick who had fast time and where they were at. And, as a mouse sitting watching these guys, I would learn about this guy's a sandbagger. He didn't qualify hard. I would hear all that. And as a kid, I would think and I would pick a sandbagger sometimes in a heat because, and my sister could never figure out how I could always pick a winner, but that's back when, the fast guy had to start in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Behind everybody and come up through. But, a love for that, love for, the bleachers, but I love the pits. That's when Dad was there, I was in the pits with him but the competition, and then it was always the food. I always, Dad, I'm hungry. He'd say, son, you're always hungry. What's new?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Brian's couple first words.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I still am. In fact.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Not time for second dinner.
Well, we got asked I had come to Grundy many different times for events, but never, when they asked me to come and do the food, it was at the same time I was asked to do, I built a $2.5 million dining hall at a campground in Rochelle, Illinois. And that happened the same time they asked me to take the track, and I almost didn't take the track because I was a general contractor for that project.
Sure.
And then I went up to the window to order as I was there as a visitor, and George Williams, at that time was president of the Fair Board, took me up to the window. I looked in and my stomach did a flip-flop. I said, no, I'm not going to eat here. No, thanks. I'm not interested. And he said, that's why I brought you here, to see that. And they stayed after me, and we came in, and that's the beginning of us being a part of Grundy.
Well, I know. I'm glad it worked out that way.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have a very clean shop. Really good menu.
Yeah. Definitely really some of the best racetrack food I have ever had.
I think he's frozen. Nope, he's gone.
Joe DeBello said, it's the best racetrack food in America. Mm-hmm. And he travels pretty much and has been at a lot of tracks. So
yeah,
I haven't been to what he's been, but everything we have, I like. And we buy the best quality that we can. We don't cheat and skimp. And then, we get a lot of griping about our prices, but we really work hard to keep it down for what we serve. But, again, we really enjoyed the brackets.
Yeah.
Because we got to get out of our menu and, I'm a big chili guy. Did you guys get in on any of the chili?
No, I spent most of that weekend hiding in the photo booth, working on the previous night's pictures.
But we had a lot. We did a lot. Made mac and cheese, and we made our signature chili. Now that it was kind of funny when when they brought the brackets over. There was a group that they thought they could dig the brackets up and come and plant it right at Grundy. Mm. You can't do that. You'll never reproduce what Rockford had.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the same track. It's not the same layout. And a lot of the same people. But, my mantra to them was, let's make it our own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's make it our own and quit trying to recreate something that's gone. Make it our own. And I really thought that event was a great success. And, they said, you'll not make your food's too expensive. You're not going to make it. You can't do it. And I said, let me worry about my food. And, we took off on a few things that we knew they did over there and had a lot of fun with it. We had a great weekend at the concession stand.
Good. That's what it's all about. I saw you guys were doing breakfast.
Oh man, I'm the breakfast guy. I like breakfast. We use almost a quarter-pound sausage patty on our egg and cheese biscuit. And we do a giant Pillsbury biscuit. It's a 4-inch biscuit. And it sits over the side a little bit, but just that's because I like breakfast. I like breakfast. So we had a great breakfast that went over big, and biscuits and gravy are always our hit. But
sure.
Again, it was funny to meet so many different, it was all new faces to us because we kind of get used to there at the driver's window. My wife runs the driver's window.
Yeah.
And she does a great job with it. And she is hilarious, and she's ornery to boot. Of course, married to me for 45 years, it doesn't help you. But guys would come up and use some pretty rough language at that window when we first came. And here's my wife's line. Oh, I see. Your mother never washed your mouth out with soap. And the guys would go. So it's kind of funny up at the window when a guy drops the F-bomb or says something. Another guy says, hey, don't say that up here. You can only say that out there. So, it's funny, but we don't try to change the culture. Guys, men are what they are, and my wife knows that, but she just has fun. She's ornery.
Good.
But we love, again, the people of Grundy have been very accepting of us. And, we're excited about opening day.
Yeah, that's going to be here before we know it.
No doubt,
remind me. I still got like 6 months of work I got to do.
Yeah, get it done.
You only got like 2 months left, man.
Yeah.
April 19th is our first practice. And what's fun I love that first practice night. And here's why. It's all free food at the concession stand. It's my give back to the drivers and the crews because they got a long year. At that time, everybody's broke. Yep. All the teams, are trying to putting everything in, and so that night is it. And what's fun? Here's what we do: we cut all our own ribeye steaks. We cut them fresh. We cut all of our own butterfly pork chops, but we save all the scraps, and I grind them, and I make them into sloppy joes for that night. That's probably the most, it's cheap. It doesn't cost us anything. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're using ribeye steak meat to make sloppy joes. And it's a little chunkier than normal.
That's one good sloppy Joe, though.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I feel like Brian's going to be not so much requesting to come with to practice, but he's going to be in the truck before I will.
I might just so happen to be free on Fridays far more often this year.
Well, again, we love what we do there because the people are what make even what you guys do. You both have you've been so influenced by your father, you guys, and his temperament and how you guys joke around, the fun you have. You saw that because that's what he was, and
yeah, oh yeah.
And you have I've told you this before, but you have a goodly heritage. That's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. He was definitely people first. I know. I think even when he was a computer nerd doing computer programming stuff, he was still people first.
Yeah.
I know he had that one girlfriend from New York. They talked on the phone for like 14 hours, and then she ended up moving here. Yeah, that was wild. If you ever want to hear a story about 10-year-old me and 2 kids and some lady from New York moving to the house, I'll tell you.
That's funny.
Yeah. They were good people though, but dad was always people first. I know every chance he had, those long drives to the racetrack before and after, he always chatted me up, talked to me about, building relationships and working on parenting, because that's ultimately what he ended up doing in the last 20 something years of his life. And I find that I took far more than I thought I did. I was just kind of focused on the road driving, and I kind of felt in one ear and out the other, but I really retained far more than I thought I did.
Yeah, it's weird just doing everyday stuff and thinking, wow, that's exactly the way Dad would have done that.
Yep.
Well, that riding to the track, now that you talk about that, my dad being a truck driver, he'd try to get in early Friday so we could go to the track Friday or Saturday, and the ride to the track is where he spent time with me and would teach me and talk. I just wrote my first book called Let's Not Take It for Granted. It's called The Book of Pondering. But, the first chapter is in what's in a name. A good name is rather to be spoken of than great riches, but my dad said, son, nothing else matters but your name, who you are. And I didn't realize when I was writing one day, Dad said that.
Yeah.
I got a chapter in the book that's about connecting the dots. And Dad said, son, you play dot-to-dot pictures. And what do you think that's for? He said, that's to see the picture before it's done. You need to be able to see the big picture. And I have a whole chapter in the book about playing dot-to-dot, about seeing the big picture. But that's, our dads do that for us. And then add racing to the whole thing.
Yeah. Didn't spend enough on dot-to-dot, so now I got to go buy some race fuel and tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always a good time, and you're right. Like that was, I got married and moved out, and I'm doing my thing with my wife, and like I didn't see Dad as much as like maybe Chris did, and the ride to the track would be about it, and the ride home from the track would be about it. He'd go up into the tower, and I'd get my camera put together, and away we went.
Well, those are great memories you cherish forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And, again, we're honored at Grundy to have you guys a part of it. And what you do, the booth and everything is always so first class. And, again, I'm glad to be tied up with good people that, really get it, what it's all about. And I think Grundy's going the right direction. I really do. Joe DeBello is a phenomenal leader. And he's another guy that he's true to his word. If he says it, he's going to do it. And I know he's done that for me as far as concessions. And I get a little bit of input into things. You know, we got a couple new things coming this year at the concession stand. We've had a ice cream trailer for 2 years, and now you guys called it the grill. We call it the Mexican grill, but the Mexican grill just couldn't support itself financially. And so, it went away. And now that building's being remodeled, actually tore down and rebuilt. Oh, wow. It's going to be the new ice cream shack.
Oh, awesome.
Which the drivers can go up to get ice cream without going through the pit gate. There is a huge crowd of drivers and people that go get ice cream. And so we're going to have that's going to be there on both sides. And then the new sweet shack, the candy shack is going to be right next to it. And that building's going to be air conditioned. Sorry, Chris. That building's going to be air conditioned because of the ice cream and because of the candy. It's a full blown candy shop, awesome. But it's a sweet and savory shop. It's going to be. It's going to have jerky in it as well as potato chips. We go every year to Indianapolis. There's a sweet and savory show. We go, and we went last year, and that's where this idea came for the sweet and savory shop. But, you can buy a bag of chips and take them up or, whatnot, or some beef jerky, take it up there and chew on it during the races. And we'll see how it goes, but all the candies for the kids.
I mean, one-stop shop.
If you can't find the photographer,
I know exactly where you're going to be every night. Chris.
Eating ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah. Chris is going to have. Is this self-serve?
Yeah. He's going to hope you have like a rewards punch card or something.
Yeah, there you go.
He's going to be in there doing So Dad had a story back in the day about going to Dairy Queen.
Oh, yeah.
It was a challenge. Some sort of put as much ice cream
he knew
on
the
your
owner.
cone.
They were really good friends with the owner. So he would go there on lunch and they do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and one time he was challenged to how much ice cream and make a queue on his cone, and he had this tower of vanilla ice cream, no queue.
I think the challenge is just can you make the queue?
Yeah,
because he always went there with his buddy from work, and his buddy maybe like half-inch of ice cream, perfect queue. Dad just leaned on the handle.
He walked out with a big old cone about that big. Oh man!
I don't even think he tried to make the queue.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, we have a soft serve machine, and we're debating whether to put it in there or not because we've done so well with hard hand dipped, but we do have a soft serve machine, and there's talks. Of course, we have the what do they call those freeze things?
Slushies.
Slushies, yeah. Where's a teenager when you need them? I got 3 of them on the screen here.
Yeah, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah,
but that was a big hit.
Yeah,
at Grundy. Our lemon shake-up is a signature for us. That's the only place you can get any ice in a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's a 22-ounce drink of fresh squeezed lemonade. It's that's probably the best drink in the whole place, if non-alcoholic beverage. You see.
Yeah, I've been to one of those alcoholic slushy places, and I stumbled out just fine.
Yeah. There you go.
And they got 45 different flavors, man. It's a really cool gig, and it's you sample them all. Of course, you're on a sugar high and an alcohol buzz, the alcoholic ones. But I think the kids would eat that up. But I mean, that would take a lot of space, a lot of
oh God, now Brian's getting
supervision. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, slushies are good.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we got opening day coming up, and that's on April the 25th. There's a practice on that Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And then, opening night, April 25th, we're getting with it early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a great schedule of events, and And so I look forward to that. I was one of the fun things is because of I've been a part of the fair committee and whatnot, and I pushed. Finally got the demo derby. We pushed in the early days, and then I always wanted to do bus racing. Well, I have a ministry where we help churches get buses. And the bottom fell out of buying buses, and we kind of got out of it. We lost our source to buy, and we would take 3 buses and make one one good one. Well, we had all these buses, and the track said, hey, we want to buy your buses. We want to have bus racing. And they bought from us 25 buses. And some of them needed a lot of work,
Yeah.
But I got to do, Eric, my partner, Eric and I got to do the first demo of bus racing out there. And then the young Stark boy, Trevor.
Yep.
Trevor and I went out there, and Joe said, I want you to bump a little bit. Well, none of us had any experience. And they had taken the help me guys with the stop and go down and eat. What's it called?
Intermission.
Intermission. Thank you. You're going to be old one day too. You're going to be asking for help. Intermission. They had taken it and cut the intermission down to nothing. And so, they were having us do this demo during the intermission. And so we didn't know you got to take the mirrors off. They used they used the kid mirror as the mirror to see where other buses behind them are at. Mm-hmm. But we still had the side mirrors. And they said, we want you to bump from behind and come together. Well, I took the inside and I came in on Trevor and I just turned that bus right into him. And I broke, my mirror went through his window and broke, and his window went through my door. So.
Oh, geez.
We made a mess on the straightaway. Mm-hmm. Joe said you could do anything, but don't make a mess and keep all 6 wheels on the ground because we don't have anything here to right you. And so we made all that glass. I don't know if you remember that, Chris, all that glass. and everybody was ticked, but Joe and them saw what happened. Everybody went down into the midway and bought while they cleaned that up. And after that, they brought intermission back to help us. Because, your booth has to suffer when there's no intermission. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
they got that nonsense
Mike
out
and
of
Rich
it.
were beside themselves that night, but at the same time, the noise I heard coming out of the crowd, I could hear over the buses.
Yeah, no doubt. It was actually, it clicked everybody how big bus racing was going to be. Mm-hmm. There, and nobody had no idea the preacher was out there banging buses.
Look at you, saving racing, one mess at a time.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, we certainly had some high expectations for it from our days at Illiana. We knew
we've seen a few buses.
Oh yeah, I think they kind of overdid it, maybe. I don't know, but they did start to lose trailers, but the buses kept up, and of course Rockford had their world famous tag to it. So they Grundy, I applaud Grundy for all that they've done and doing their best to keep everything going, and it's not easy. It's not easy, and we all know that.
No doubt. Yeah, talking Illiana just a little bit. I went to college in Crown Point, Indiana, and we would, of course, Tom would come and race at Illiana, Tom Refner and Dick and them, and I'd go over there and see him, and always enjoyed that, and I had no idea how that would all connect late in my life to some of the tracks of the Chicagoland that are gone.
Yeah. We've lost a lot of them. Got a couple back, and then lost them again.
That's it. I'll tell you one last story. As a kid, I was at Dick, Trickle, and Tom had a garage together. And my dad, we'd always go over there, and my dad, before we went in with son, kids are seen and not heard. Just shut up and listen. You might learn something. So I was a mouse. I never, and Trickle would always mess with you. He was a people person. And he would always mess with people. But as a kid, I was there when my dad and Tom went out to Dick's truck and took his battery out of his truck and hid it in the shop. And Dick came in his car, and he went out to grab the truck. And he came in all mad that his truck wouldn't start, and took all the, to get somebody to come out and jump him and whatnot, the truck and whatnot. And, of course, nobody would help him. And, he kept trying to set it up himself. And he went out there and opened the hood up and had the jumper cables in his hands, and the battery was gone. And he came back in, and it was, as a kid, I said, is Dick Trickles, man, he's going to beat these guys up, That's what I thought as a kid. And, but he got even with them. A lot of pranks went on in those early days.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just a privilege as a little mouse to watch some of that go on.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, before you go, Dan, is there maybe one positive one positive impact from racing on your life? I know that you've had quite a few, it sounds like.
Well, this is unusual, but I grew up dyslexic. When I was a child, they didn't know what dyslexia was. I was thrown in the dummy class because I was just a dumb kid. And I got in a lot of trouble as a kid because they tried to make me read out loud. And I wouldn't. But my mother would take us, when Dad was not there, to the racetrack, and she would teach me numbers about writing down the time of that a guy just put in, and got me working with numbers. And she did the same thing in baseball. I grew up we were Milwaukee Braves at the time. And then the Braves left and we became Cub fans. We went from there down to the Cubs. And this story, when the Brewers came back to Milwaukee, or came to Milwaukee, my mom wouldn't let us cheer for them. I remember she was a missionary kid. We don't cheer for a beer team. And so that was what she did. So, funny story, and then I'll bring this to a conclusion. The Brewers were playing the Cardinals, and I like the Cardinals too, and so a friend of mine said, "How can you cheer for the Cardinals, man? We are Wisconsin. You should be a Brewer fan." And here's me. I don't cheer for a beer team. He said, "Oh yeah, the Cardinals. What's the name of that stadium? Busch Stadium? Oh yeah, right." So insert foot and stick it in. But racing helped me to identify with a group of people, because it wasn't about what you knew with the book in book learning, or I was little Woody's kid. Tom Refner's related to the Refners, and I got a lot of slaps on the back and was around that, and for me it was a super positive experience when school was not. It wasn't until I was in college that they discovered I had dyslexia.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's amazing. And then how I want to go back to those teachers that threw me out of their class because I couldn't read, and give them a copy of my book.
Sure.
And said, this is what a dumb dyslexic kid does when he grows up.
Proving all the haters wrong.
Yeah.
That's what we love about you.
Well, you guys are great. I appreciate it. We are we listen in and laugh. You guys keep me laughing, and I love that. Don't lose that.
Yeah, never will. I will always pick on my brother.
I'll always pick back.
And I'm just here to stir the pot. So,
and you're good at it.
Yeah.
You are good at it.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you for giving us some time tonight, Dan. We know you have a lot of stories, and we're going to hear some more at some point. And thanks for always listening to us, even if it's not even that big of an episode. We appreciate the listening and always listening to us, and the relationship you have with our dad, that now we have a relationship with you, and it's awesome. And I can't wait to see you out of Grundy. But
See, what I heard was I can't wait for one of those ribeyes.
Yeah, that's what I really heard.
Yeah.
Come for the food, stay for the racing.
That's it. In closing, a lot of people used to say we would eat before we came to the track, and we have seen a total turnaround where people are coming to eat at the track, and we work hard to keep our prices down and high quality, and again, we're looking for a great year. Yeah. And no new sandwiches, no, just may trim the menu a little bit, but
trim the fat. That's
it. So thank you again. Keep up the good work. Thank you for promoting Grundy County Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
You too.
All right.
That is the worst clapper ever.
Yes. Yeah, sync that one up. So that was...
Sorry, all that food talk.
Yeah, I know, right? So, and I could tell you, he was a Baptist preacher without ever having to hear him say he was a Baptist preacher, with as much as he talks about food. Mm-hmm. Growing up in the Baptist church and around Baptist and having a Baptist preacher as a father, I can tell with as much food talk, the correlation's there.
See, Brian was not a Baptist preacher. But I guess technically our family does kind of come from the line of Baptists.
I'm a long descendant.
Yeah. Well, I could see your face was lighting up talking about all the food. So.
Oh my God, dude! I'm going to leave.
He said brisket sandwich, and he started talking, reliving it.
All of a sudden, I'm doing the dirt track now.
Yeah. Roles have been reversed at Good Acre Photography this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What'd you guys think about his interview?
Good. It was good. For a moment there, I almost had to take a break and be like, "Welcome to our new podcast where we talk about food." but
it's like diners, drive-ins, and dives over here. Guy Fieri's gonna be popping out around the corner.
I'm drooling, licking my chops, man. I'm excited for race season because I'm not gonna go for 46 hot dogs. I think I'm just gonna eat a plethora of track food and be happy. But
there you go. Got to eat something different every night now.
Maybe I'll go for 46 brisket sandwiches.
I mean, he had me sold when he was talking about the ice cream shack and the sweet and savory shop right there, and you can get to it from the pit side.
I instantly thought of
Jeremy,
like
as a driver,
yes,
is there enough room in that little Tykes late model for an ice cream cone?
Probably for a little mini
when
ice
did we
cream
get ice cream?
Yeah.
I don't believe NASCAR would approve of you having ice cream on the track.
I mean,
or however that line went.
Jeremy did pretty good the second time out.
Yeah.
And yes, Chris does down the line.
Yes. I think NASCAR think much you eating ice cream cone out there.
We got hard enough time driving around the track as it is.
Yeah, that's right. Still classic, man. I mean, now that we're getting to Daytona time, that's been on TV a couple times, and turn it on, still just hooked.
When he was talking, I felt kind of bad, but when he was talking about his dyslexia, all I could think of is Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last.
I mean, yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Oh man, Brian.
I tell you what, though.
That's why I'm friends with him. He's gonna save me.
Interesting though, he was talking about when, back when you'd invert the field and the fast guys would be in the back and have to work their way up front, so you got sandbagging. Didn't see a whole lot of that at I'm blanking here. Bowman Gray.
Yeah.
No,
God,
not really.
that was probably my least favorite of this past race weekend. Is everybody won from the pole?
Yeah, I mean,
it was definitely Raceway farther back in the field, but
yeah, it's hard to pass them. And I will say though that in the main event, Won't talk about the LCQ. It was too long.
Oh,
you don't need
the LCQ had some opinions going up for. I was talking with you two. I was talking with Aaron. There was definitely some opinions on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to do a 50-lap LCQ, fine. 75, a little too much.
Yeah,
even 200 for the main event was a little too much.
Some Silver Spoon drivers running like they're racing with Grandpa's money.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs.
He got airborne.
Yeah,
he was doing tricks.
Yeah, he was doing ollie, kick flips. I thought he was old Rob Deerdeck out there.
Yeah,
but you know what? It was cool optic though. First to see all the improvements they've made to Bowman Gray Stadium, and just how good that looked. Everything looked great there. It looked like the place was packed. They were doing it up really well. All the new lighting system that they had there, I think it's kind of similar to what Martinsville had.
At one point, I did text Aaron and I said, "Man, could you imagine if like Shady Hill had that kind of lighting?"
Yeah, right.
Pictures would be so much easier.
Everybody,
because Grundy's most of the way there. There's still some dark spots. Really inconvenient for me, at least. The track looks great, but
they were pretty early
coming off of 4 right there. Like, oh, well, one more light.
They were pretty
right
early
where you're trying to take the finish line pictures.
Exactly.
Well, those are kind of like far away to begin with because that start finish line's a little bit further down.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And now they've got the asphalt in there, and it was a kind of like a dirt pit for like
it was a tractor pull.
So like they never had light there anyway, and the light that is down there is coming from behind.
From the outside.
So
but
makes it difficult.
all the lights at Bowman Gray were coming from the outside. It's just they're trying to light a quarter mile instead of whatever the actual measurement of Grundy is. I'm still not sure what
3/8
because Grundy claims to be a third and Plymouth claims to be a third, and I've walked around both of them. They're not the same length.
Yeah, Grundy's probably closer to like 3/8.
But I'm not going to stir any pots there. But yeah, it's that's just, and it was weird seeing nothing in the infield. I get it. I understand safety, but man, it was just.
I tell you what they should have done is they should have put a boxing ring in right in the middle, and anybody that wanted to settle it, just do it right there.
There you go.
I know deal. I know they'd use it on a regular Saturday night.
Absolutely.
I know we had some old school Kyle Busch going on too.
Yeah, a little bit. It was entertaining. I think that's probably the best short track race, unfortunately, that them cars have put on. Because usually everything else, Martinsville, Bristol, all those are usually pretty stinkers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Martinsville and Bristol, different kind of racing.
For sure, different
even
kind of
from
animal,
each other, they're different kinds of
different
racing.
kind of animal for sure. But it seemed like even though a lot of guys winning from the pole, you could at least pass me. Blaney came all the way from the back in the main event. So and Josh Berry and the LCQ kind of came from the back. So it seems like you could still make a pass without totally having to dump a guy. And
I hadn't thought about it until just now, but I don't think Blaney really got his nose dirtied up at all.
No, I think
he did it legit.
I think between him and Chase and a couple of those guys up front, I think their cars were relatively clean, all things considered.
Yeah.
Can't say that for their back half of the field, but it was entertaining to watch, and something I hope they do again. Again, it's good to kind of capture. Especially with all the changes that have been going on in the NASCAR realm, still kind of capture and preserve that history, the history of NASCAR, the history of short track racing, and really the history that we're kind of ingrained with here. I mean, similar tracks to what we see up here in the Midwest, and
tight little bull rings
that test even the best drivers. So it's definitely cool to see. Hope they go back there again maybe next year. I know there's some talk about doing like a Brazil or taking it international.
Yeah, they talked a lot about it. It almost sounded like they were trying to steer the conversation toward look at all the tracks the Clash has been at, and then came up with Daytona, different Daytona, and then the Coliseum the last few years.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't understand what the obsession is with taking it international. We're not F1. They'll never be F1. Even IndyCar doesn't really run international anymore. I mean, Mexico and Canada, I get. I concede there.
That's close enough.
Yeah, I'll concede there. There's good racetracks on either side of the border there to go to.
Short of kind of like the NFL, I guess, does a few international games, but it's like
they're doing more.
Nobody really races our kind of racing anywhere else.
Yeah, so I'd
No.
say let's, you want to do some new things. That's cool. That's fine. But my hot take is let's keep it here in North America. That would be my deal. But I digress.
Run it at Slinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have to put snow skis on the car. But
Now hold on.
Plow the track before you
They
race.
were running dirt late models up north in Michigan. Brian showed me the video.
It was Owasso.
We put thank you. We put NASCAR Cup cars on dirt at Bristol.
The Honeycutt. What's his name? Caden. The kid that won the Snowball Derby was racing the Snowball Derby, I think it was also called, up at Owasso as a dirt late model. And I think they ran snowmobiles like right after them.
There you go.
One literal, one
Kindle will be happy.
I'm sure she watched it. I think it was on Flow.
So, yeah. Put the Cup cars on the snow. Let's just see what happens.
I mean,
They got rain tires.
Yeah.
And wipers.
Yeah, just put some studs in them things and they're ready to
There you
rip,
go.
man.
Well,
Go ice
they
racing.
tried I know ARCA's done dirt racing. I know Mid-Am Series has done dirt racing.
Cup did dirt at Bristol.
Yeah.
Running them at Shady, maybe
terrible.
not Shady Hill.
Yeah, put them. Yeah. We got an ARCA car laying around, I think.
That's true.
And then all the trucks had their couple years over at
Eldora.
And then they ran a couple in Knoxville, I think. So.
Yeah.
But either way, man, Clash kicking off. We are stock car racing season here's going on. A lot now. Speed weeks in Daytona and Florida is kicking off. So Brian, what do we got going on there?
Dirt Car Winter Nationals over on Dirt Vision for those of us that stayed home and have that service. They're racing down at Volusia. I know he's not really a local guy, but what the hell's his name? 66. Cole Falloway from Kentucky picked up a Gator, I think 2 maybe. Anyway, he's the back-to-back winner of the Mystery 100 over at Shady Hill, so he's doing big things down there. I know Brad DeYoung's down there. Ethan Boomsma is down there. Ryan Thomas is down there. He's the Diamond modified guy out of Indy. The Indy area. He might be kind of south of Indy, but I know he's down there. So we got a handful of localish guys racing, and that's exciting to see. And I know we always talk about safety, and you guys may or may not have seen the clip come across Facebook, but there was a pretty scary incident over at Needmore Speedway in South Georgia with Brian Shirley, who runs big late model races up here in this area. Not sure exactly what happened, but it kind of looked like a runaway motor where something caught fire and the fuel kept feeding, so the fire kept growing and just smoke built. So, it's all over Facebook, and I'm sure you can find it pretty quickly. But he's all right. The car is actually back in one piece, and I think he's racing it this weekend at Alltech.
Jeez.
So so safety should be your number one investment for a race car.
Investment, not expense.
Yes,
correct.
They're expensive, but it's all an investment because you get into a situation like that, you want everything to work, even though it kind of wasn't working. you want the right things to
fact
work.
that he's still racing means everything was working.
Yeah, he raced like the next night or whatever the next race was. It was pretty quick. He, I think his team went back to the shop and grabbed a different car and kept on racing. But yeah, I think the post today or yesterday was the car that kind of got burnt up. It's back in one piece, and I think he's racing it again already.
Wow.
So that's exciting to see. But dirt racing is going. I know there's a couple races going on in down south there with some like 4-cylinder stuff. I know we're gearing up here. Sounds like I am headed to Iowa. I'll know officially in March to go shoot that Mars event with some IMCA guys. Get to hang out with my father-in-law a little bit. That'll be fun. So I look forward to that. Race season's here,
Yep.
Rolex had the Penske team with whoever on it. I don't really watch it, but it happened. So, Clash is over. We're gearing up. We got 2 weeks to the 500.
Yep. And
So-
if you're into short track stuff, obviously we are. The World Series of Asphalt, New Smyrna, kicks off later this week. I think it's on the 7th.
Is that the one Brandon Ross is going to?
It might be.
Yeah, we got a local guy, Brandon Ross. I don't know if he listens, but I know he's going down. Hashtag Facebook,
Yeah,
a news
I think,
source for everything.
I think most of that stuff will be
the,
broadcast on Flow, too. So.
Yeah.
So the Plymouth banquet was Saturday night, and Brian, I guess, A, didn't have anything better to do, and B, decided he probably ought to pay a visit to 2 of his accounts at the same time.
Two of
came
them.
out.
Oh, yeah. I
you
guess
got
technically.
Plymouth.
Yeah.
So
must
yeah,
be
Brian
Swan
came
Lake.
out to the Plymouth banquet with us, and the way they do it out there, each champion has their own reserve table, and then the rest is just kind of first come first serve. So
Open seating.
Yeah, we were running a little late, so we didn't get like prime seating. Ended up really back row.
we got prime seating. We were.
Well, it ended
we
up
were,
being prime seating.
we were the
Brian
closest-
was literally 6 feet from the bar.
Not even.
Well, we were on the far side of the table.
Yeah, I drank plenty of Miller Lite that I delivered on Thursday, and I'll have to replenish on Thursday.
That's just job security at that rate.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But I was up shooting. Aaron was up shooting. We were there to work. But Brian spent the whole time talking to Rich Segvich.
No. Brian spent the whole time listening to Rich Segvich and Brandon Ross. Peanut gallery about everyone up there talking, and it was worth the price of admission. Yeah, it was good. I
All
tell you
I know
what,
is
man.
by the time I got back to the table, Rich was telling me to never bring you again because you were just stirring the pot.
I was just sitting there listening to him. He was just being a shit. I tell you what, dude, he's a good dude, and he had a lot of cool stories. I know Brandon's young, and he's gonna have plenty of stories to tell. And his son is racing Bryson, which is I think kind of why we ventured that way.
Yeah,
Because we kind of had that relationship. The other mini wedges that we knew kind of had full tables. So thanks to Brandon Ross for letting us join his table.
yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah. So race season's here. I mean, you're already talking about you guys had the Plymouth banquet there last week. A lot coming up already, even here later this month in February.
Yep, February 22nd, we got the 20th annual Racers Trade Show and Swap Meet down in Rensselaer, Indiana, just I think a mile or two off of I-65 on Route 114. It's the Jasper County Fairgrounds. I'm not sure the price of admission, but come buy some used parts, buy some new parts, meet people, buy some old pictures, buy some shirts if Dirt Diva Boutique is there, and I know Shady Hill's going to have a booth, so get their schedule and get them lined up.
Get your announcer forms filled out.
Yeah, it's a good time. I think last year Hetty was whipping some burgers or something, so there might be some food going on.
I don't have a whole lot of memory last year. I was
you were sick
as a dog.
You just slept in the
I was just
in the
a
front
chauffeur.
seat. Yeah, that's fine. Me and mom did all the work.
But
So,
yeah,
no
I
biggie.
don't plan on being sick this year, and now that we know what we're getting into, should be able to plan a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll have all the old stuff down there, and which means I got to empty these books from this past season. So, and if you want to get driver cards pre-ordered, you want to get shirt designs pre-ordered,
That'd be
good
the
time to
place
talk
do it.
to us, and then not right after, but about a month after that, we're headed out to Will County Fairgrounds for the Chicagoland Racers Reunion and Memorabilia Show. That's a mouthful.
Yep, and we'll have
with,
all the old Andy Grod stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't really know what our plan is yet for going into that. It all depends on, I guess, how far along I am in the organization and scanning process. Right now, it looks like we're going to have the same set of 3x5 mostly prints, and hopefully organized a little less intimidatingly. I don't know. Mom said there were a lot of people walking up to the table last year looking at our stacks of pictures. That's how I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we just gotta be out there helping. It's a lot there, and it's very organized, which is key.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot, so it's intimidating. So
Right. And Gonna do our annual see who we can grab out of the crowd and sit down and ask a few questions to.
Yeah, we're running out of old guys, so we gotta get them while we can.
That's
and hopefully they came up with some new stories.
Speaking of, this will be out, significantly after, but at the time that this is airing, happy belated birthday, Kyle.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
So it's one of our longtime listeners that we managed to sit down for a few minutes last year.
I think our number one North Carolina listener, but Travis Larson might be closing in.
We'll see. We'll have to get the votes. We'll tally the votes.
Yeah. Well, for sure we got 2 in North Carolina, so
just taking over.
They might be like our number 3 state right now, right behind Illinois and Indiana.
Yeah. just getting everywhere,
Yeah.
Multi-regional here.
Yeah.
So that's coming up, and then after that it'll be April. Before you know it, we'll be back at racetracks and
our first race,
April 5th.
April 5th. Yes, thank you. The Fools Enduro 200 and I can't remember what they called it, but the knock the glass out and gut and go. Thank you. The gut and go 150, all Plymouth. And speaking of Plymouth, just saw on Facebook this morning that added on 3 triple play modified series.
Yep.
So that's the thing about Plymouth is they put out their schedule a few times and it keeps getting improved every time they put it out.
It's like those infomercials, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
One thing they haven't announced are concerts, so maybe it's going to be back to just a speedway right now.
Yep. And I got to apologize to Stan because Tony was not at the banquet for me to bother him about, but Stan would like a super late model race at Plymouth at some point, please.
Keep that one going.
Or a Super Cup race, or both the same night. That'd be very convenient.
Both on the same night would be very convenient. Just saying. But before we wrap things up, we got a hashtag 1positive for this episode.
Shit.
Not
Brian, you wrote the script. Did you forget
once.
one?
No, I knew I had to do it, but I forgot that I had to do it.
Demerits. This will reflect poorly on your annual review.
What are you
as
gonna
long
do?
As we remember.
Give me a demotion? You gonna write the scripts?
You were demoted to having to write the scripts and do the interview.
Yeah. You'll be demoted to also then having to do the technical stuff too.
There you go.
Yeah, just keep on demoting me.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how you keep getting demoted? Your workload increases?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works in the corporate world, too.
Yeah.
You are low man on the totem pole. You got to do everything.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, 1 positive since 3 weeks ago. Yeah, because, okay. Yeah, perfect. That's perfect.
There you go.
Hashtag
Apparently
1 positive. Racing family, man. I tell you what, we're gearing up for the 25 season. I think we've said about 45 times already. But I've been on the phone back and forth with Tammy. Talking some stuff with Billy. We're lining up advertisements for the track and the program, the souvenir program. So reach out to me if you'd like to sponsor / advertise. I mean, not sponsor. If you want to sponsor, talk to S4. If you want to advertise, talk to me.
There you go.
But anyway,
and if you want to do both, we really like you.
Talk to us. Yeah. So my 1 positive is my brother being the I don't know.
You got another brother that I don't know?
Being on the forefront of trying to learn new. Trying to learn new things, and he texted me about this sponsorship summit. And I was like, yeah, whatever, but we're busy that weekend, and then we ended up not being busy that weekend, and he was watching it, and I ended up becoming busy that weekend doing cabinets, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, thanks to him, I made it through all like 8.5, almost 9 hours of film.
That was a long
footage. It was a lot. But it really just reiterated what I already knew, but definitely gave me some new ideas on
hearing that many important people say the exact same thing.
Yeah, from different walks of the sport, whether they're sponsor people that work at a big company or they're just people at a racing industry company, or they're racers themselves. So getting that background, pick up extra knowledge, I think is a positive for me. So thanks to Chris for paying for
All
that.
right. Well, you're welcome. That was a business expense.
Yeah, thanks. All right, fine. Thanks to the business for the expense.
Chris, what you got?
All right. What I got? Well, I'm gonna kind of piggyback on that, and so my one positive is we got invited to Rhonda Alger's birthday party. Was that last week already?
Yep, last Wednesday the 29th.
Yeah, last Wednesday we were at Buddy and Pal's.
Good pizza.
And, it is.
We've been talking about food all night.
Yeah, right.
Walked in there thinking, okay, we know Billy, we know Tammy, we know Dave, we know Rhonda. Saw Judy. Haven't seen her in, I think since last time we were at an Illiana function. So, the Alger family, we've always been close with, because just really through being with Illiana, and then a whole lot of people that obviously Rhonda knows, but we don't know who they are. So Brian and I sat down. Well, how long are we going to be here? To order a pizza, and then first I think it was Lee Mose walked in. I never got a chance to say hi to Lee, but on the off chance he's listening or somebody that knows Lee is listening, Lee, we saw you. Hi. And then Dean and Patty, the Patterson came in. I think he was going to sit with us until he saw Lee, and Glenn Kosiar was there. So it's kind of a small Illiana family reunion. And then Brian and I were sitting at the table. Billy was playing. Okay, what do we? And then Earl walks in.
Stooges.
And it's just the
Earl
stories that Earl was telling.
Earl is the head security guy at Shady Hill Speedway.
Yeah, if you don't know Earl, you haven't been to Shady Hill Speedway.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so bringing it back around, just the family connections, even Pastor Dan there was kind of getting at it. Just everybody that knew Dad that we've grown into knowing, and just I know we were kicking a dead horse last year with Racing Family, but I really think Racing Family is the biggest positive to pull out of all of this. So just seeing some old people seeing some people from the olden times that we haven't seen in a long time.
Some old friends.
And talking to Earl, getting to know our newer people better. Just that's. I'm going to trail off here so Jeremy takes over.
Yeah. I guess, you piggybacked off the piggyback, and I'll do the same thing. Something that Dan kind of reiterated too. He said, a statement similar to that, going back and forth to the racetrack, with your dad and stuff, that was their time to spend time with you and whatnot. And it really struck a chord because, when my dad and me would be heading to the go-kart track or coming back, either way, it wasn't for him, and now looking back on me, it wasn't so much about going racing as it was, spending that time together. So anytime we get to spend with our family or racing family, I think is just positive in general. So I think we'll keep that theme going as our hashtag one positive this week is racing family. Whatever your one positive from the racing world this past week, month, or as we head into the 2025 season, go ahead and drop it in the comments. You can do that on our YouTube page, which is how you're probably watching this episode right now. I'm not sure how you'd be watching it otherwise. Go ahead and like and subscribe
it's
there.
The internet, you don't know.
That's true. I don't know what dark corners of the web this shows up on. But yeah, like and subscribe. Hit the little bell to get notified when we post new content. If you are an audio podcast listener, you're doing that on Spotify, Apple, YouTube podcasts. I want to thank you for that as well. Please like, rate, review, all that good stuff on your podcast app there. Helps us help you. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Illiana SCR. You'll have information about upcoming shows, events. We'll share Good Acre photography posts. We'll link you to Dimmitt race videos, posts by the tracks. Just everything we can do to keep you guys informed and keep everybody wanting and craving more of that short track action. Anything else before we wrap up this evening, gentlemen?
They didn't pay me to say this, but I got to shout out my buddies at a new brewery over in Naperville. They're not in Indiana, so you got to go over there to get them. But
that's all right. Half of our listening is over there.
Yeah, they're good buddies of mine, and they left their previous brewery and started their own opportunity in Naperville at the old Go Brewing, which was non-alcoholic, and now they're brewing alcoholic beers.
Stop.
But it's called Blind Corner. So they're new on the scene. Really good beers. Check them out. Don't tell them I sent you, because who knows? Or who knows? Do.
Yeah, they might
tell them Brian sent you, but don't
tell them Goody. Tell them Goody sent you. You'll probably get
charged more.
Get some
get some weird looks.
You'll get some good treatment. Yeah, but they're good people, and they're small supporters of the race scene. They head over to Sycamore from time to time, at least once a summer. So, shout out to them. Good beers. I know they don't listen to this, but maybe someone will say, I heard about you on this episode of this podcast, and bam.
See, Brian,
now we're in business.
What'd you learn at that sponsorship summit? It's not necessarily who you know or what you know. It's who you know.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I also learned relationships. I also learned what value do you bring to a sponsor.
Exactly.
You know? And the value is show up, drink this beer, tell them Goody sent you, and maybe we'll get sponsored and we can get a bigger, better studio.
I don't think there's any better way.
You got the biggest studio out of all of us right now.
That's true.
I don't think there's any better way to end the show other than that little self-promotion. So
that's right.
On behalf of the preacher, Dan Woodward.
Are we back to shameless? The hashtag shameless self-promotion?
Just for Jason Moorhead. That's about it. .com.
.com.
.com. Can't forget the .com. Well, yeah, we want to thank Preacher for coming on this week. We certainly look forward to seeing him out the racetrack, visiting concession stands, seeing what they got new for 2025. We hope you guys will all get out there as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Illiana Stock Car Radio, and we look forward to seeing you again real soon.